We are delighted you joined us for our continuing Facebook Live series on citizenship and the naturalization process. Today's very important discussion is on some of the financial aspects and obstacles for applying for citizenship. Funding for CUNY Citizenship Now's legal services is made possible thanks to the New York City Council, and this event is sponsored by the New York State Office of New Americans Liberty Defense Project. Hey, Midori, how are you?
Good. How are you, Sean? Thanks for having me.
Hey, great. Hey, listen, should we introduce ourselves?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I am immigration attorney Sean Rahman of CUNY Citizenship Now.
And I'm Midori Hills. I'm the staff attorney at one of the staff attorneys at CUNY Citizenship Now.
All right. As always, we are taking viewer questions. So if you have a question on the financial aspects of applying for citizenship, please drop it in the comments and we will get to as many as we can at the end of our discussion. So Midori, before we get to the financial obstacles or the challenges, let's start with the possible financial benefits or advantages of becoming a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of advantages to being a U.S. citizen. As far as financial advantages, probably the biggest one is that U.S. citizens are eligible for certain government jobs that non-citizens may not be able to apply for. And the most common examples are things like working in law enforcement. So if you want to be in the New York NYPD, that you're required to be a citizen. Sometimes teaching jobs require it. If you are working for Department of Defense contract, those kind of things that require certain security clearances, you may need to be a U.S. citizen. So that's probably the biggest one. And another one is that you are eligible for a broader range of public benefits as a U.S. citizen than you are if you're just staying with the green card. And so the range of public benefits is broader, and also the amount of time that you may be able to get them is also longer. And then so Sean, I don't know if there's any other things that I'm missing.
No, I mean, let me just add to that there are a lot of federal grants and scholarships that are only available to U.S. citizens. So I think that, especially particularly with students and, that might be of interest to them. Also, there are a number of tax and estate planning benefits. I understand that retiring in a foreign country and collecting your Social Security is something that you can only do when you're a citizen, right? Because if you're not a citizen, you have to keep coming back here. Your primary residence has to be in the United States. So that's another, I think, financial benefit.
Right.
Although that's a dream of so many of ours, I think. But so all right, great. So how about this? Also, a good reason to become a citizen: you don't have to renew your green card anymore. Right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's $540 a pop.
Right.
And every 10 years that ends. Right. So,
right.
So also, I was thinking about, I was looking into whether, because I had read a while ago, Midori, that there's been studies that naturalized U.S. citizens actually enjoy a higher earning power, on average, and in some cases, this one study that I had read said on average almost $20,000 more than non-citizen immigrants, and even in many cases more money than natural born American citizens. So something about immigrants and coming here and working towards becoming a citizenship, tends to do.
Oh, that does make sense. Yeah, I guess you don't take it for granted when you have to work to get there.
All right. Midori, hold on. You know what? I forgot to give out our numbers. Let's go ahead and do that.
Oh, okay.
I want to go ahead and, we want to assist you. All of us at CUNY Citizenship Now, we want to assist all immigrants in their last or in their final leg of your immigration journey. Please call us at 646-664-9400. You can text us at 929-334-3784 or by email at citizenshipnowinfo@cuny.edu. All right. Now, Midori, even though the cost of applying for citizenship has not changed or increased in a few years now, it's still expensive, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
particularly in this economy where so many are unemployed, perhaps living paycheck to paycheck. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, right now the fee for citizenship is $725, which includes the biometrics fee, the fingerprinting fee, which is $85. And we were all very concerned last year when the USCIS announced that they were going to do a fee increase that would have put the application fee over $1,000, which is really, really onerous. It's way too high for people to pay. And the big scare with that fee increase was that they also really limited the ability of people who did not have the income, who needed a fee waiver, to be able to get a fee waiver. And so there was a lot of work done and lawsuits filed. And as of right now, the plans at USCIS to change the fees have been scrapped. So the fees remain what they are. And the ability to apply for fee waivers stays the same. So for people, we're going to talk about that a lot, but for people who need assistance, they'll be able to still apply for that fee waiver. But the main thing is that the application fee is $725. And I don't want to get too off the topic or expose how long I've been doing this, but when I started doing citizenship, it was less than $100 to file for naturalization. And so, as technology changes and things like that, the fees do need to go up because the fees are used by USCIS to process the actual applications, but the jump from $725 to over $1,000 was really just too much.
Right, right. And you know what? I think 725 is a staggering amount too.
Yeah,
A couple having to pay $1,450. I mean, when they're making, let's say, around $25,000-$30,000 a year, that's a big blow to them. And all right, how about ancillary costs? I mean, other costs associated with it. I know that if somebody has an arrest record, for example, we do need them to get the arrest record or the certificate of disposition for us, right?
Right.
So that adds a little bit of cost to it, not much, about 10 or in some cases $10. I know in Westchester it's $5. What you want to do is you want to go into for those not in New York or not local New York City, you want to go into their to the website of the particular court that you may have had an arrest or a charge in, and they usually list how much it costs to get those dispositions.
That's right. So in New York City, it's $10 per disposition, actually. So that may be important to someone who needs to get more than one disposition to us. But and then every county's outside of New York City, every county's criminal court or the clerk's office of the court will have the information available for people to get their dispositions. And then and then a lot of people ask us if it's necessary to have a lawyer to help them with their citizenship process.
Great point. Yeah.
I think that if there are free services available, for example, through Citizenship Now, you may as well get the help. It doesn't cost anything extra. But for some people, if they're not in New York City, or if they're in if they're in places where we're not available, sometimes people do need to feel like they want to pay attorney fees to help them file for their citizenship. Or some cases, it's important to have a representative. And so those fees you'd have to add on to it too. And so at least in New York City, if CUNY Citizenship Now is available to assist, then at least you don't have to pay whatever that fee is on top of the citizenship fees.
Which in many cases could be several hundreds to even thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So no, that's a great point, because in cities like New York and some of the larger cities where low cost or even pro bono services or pro se services, free legal services are available for citizenship. Yes, this is what we are about. And no, thanks for mentioning that. It's a great point.
Oh, also, Sean, now most of the times the people that I'm assisting are paying by check or money order. And then I wanted to, and sometimes people want to know if they're able to pay the fees by credit cards. And so whether or not that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is an option.
right.
It is an option. It is, you can go onto on USCIS website. There is a form called a G1450. It allows you to print the form, put in your credit card information and debit card information, by the way, credit and debit card information on it, submit it with your application. So you can use that. So,
Yeah. Oh, good.
great.
Yeah. So that makes things a lot easier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right.
what else can we talk about with this?
All right. So why don't we get to fee waivers now? You mentioned fee waivers,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And, fortunately, of course, in this economy where, as I mentioned before, 725s could be a lot of money. USCIS has retained that fee waiver, right? And fee waivers are still with us, thankfully. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Okay. So yeah. So the fee waivers actually are crucially important to the people that we're helping at CUNY Citizenship now. I think I knew at one point what the percentage of applicants that we assist with who file for fee waivers, but fee waivers are available for several USCIS forms. They're basically, they're usually for forms for a form of relief that does not require the public charge, which a lot of people were talking about last year. But so fee waivers are available when you're applying for your citizenship or naturalization on 3 grounds, and we're going to talk about each of them a little bit. The first one is people who receive a means tested public benefit are eligible for a fee waiver. And so what a means tested public benefit is basically if the government or the municipality who's giving the benefit has to review your income and see if it's below a certain threshold in order for you to qualify for that benefit, then USCIS will accept that evaluation and say, okay, a government's already the government's already decided that your income is low enough to get this benefit. So then USCIS will use that to say that you qualify for the fee waiver. And so examples of means tested public benefits are Medicaid, which is health insurance that the government provides. You don't have to pay for it. But again, you have to show that your income is below a certain threshold to receive it. SNAP benefits, which is for food and nutrition that used to be more commonly called food stamps, but it's now called SNAP. SSI, which is not Social Security, it's supplemental security income. It's for certain people with disabilities and things like that. And Section 8, which is for housing in New York City. And so basically, if you qualify for these benefits, you've already shown, and I'm only talking in terms of New York City because that's where we are, but so you've already shown New York City HRA, the Social Services Department, that you qualify for these benefits because your income's below a certain level. So the only thing you need to show to get a fee waiver is proof that you're receiving that means tested public benefit. I think we have some samples that people can see of what the Medicaid letter looks like or what the SNAP letter looks like. And so we may be able to get those on the screen to show you. This one is an example from New York City's HRA's, the Human Resources Administration, and you can see that it's a letter that verifies that this applicant, who's called John Doe, is receiving Medicaid. And it says the dates when they're receiving it from, when they're receiving it to, and so you would get that letter. The applicant would be able to get this letter by contacting the New York City Human Resources Administration and saying that they need this proof that they're receiving public health insurance. And then the other letter that I think we have a sample of, this is a sample budget letter, which verifies, it has the agency's name on the top. It has it's been redacted, but the household members' names, who's receiving the benefit, and what benefit are they receiving. And so that form would be submitted to USCIS along with the fee waiver application to prove that the applicant is receiving a means tested public benefits. And I think we have one more letter. This letter is from the New York State of Health, which is a state agency. So if you are listening to this from, or if you're watching this from Long Island or one of the upstate counties or anywhere else in New York State, this letter would work too. The other two letters are only for people who are New York City residents, but this New York State of Health also has Medicaid plans and also runs a program through the ACA, the Obamacare, where they have subsidized healthcare under plans called the Essential Plan. And as of right now, all of the essential plans also would allow the applicant to qualify for a fee waiver through USCIS. So I think that takes care of the sample letters that we have.
All right.
Well, I didn't know if you had anything to add to that, Sean, before we talk about the
No,
income.
I just want to add something, about, some of the concerns about that we sometimes see from our applicants that we assist about their fear about using, these benefits and nervous about their chances of citizenship. But that's, I do want to spend a minute talking about that.
Okay.
Okay. So we hear from time to time that, that some green card holders are nervous about their chances of citizenship if they use these benefits, or that it will, somehow reflect poorly on their citizenship application. We confirm that there is no need to worry about that,
That's
so
right.
long as you qualified for these benefits without misrepresenting your financial situation.
That's right. That's right.
So if, for example, an applicant took advantage of a public benefit that maybe you were not entitled to, such as, food stamps or Medicaid, USCIS could find that person committed fraud. So, and deny your application for those grounds. But so long as, you didn't take advantage of it, like I said, by lying or committing fraud in your application, there is no concern about using these benefits and applying for a fee waiver for your citizenship application. It will not affect your chances.
That's right. That's right. So that's a very important thing that we had to try to get that message out a lot in the last couple of years, which is that the public charge considerations, or what people were worried about if receiving public benefits was going to be an issue for them, it is an issue for people who are first applying for their green card or who are maintaining their permanent residence. But when it comes to applying for citizenship, it's not a consideration. And so it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter if the person is not working or if the person is receiving public benefits. And as long as that's right, just like you said, as long as they're receiving public benefits that they're entitled to, so they're not doing anything funny with their household calculation and things like that, as long as they're entitled to it and it's properly obtained public benefits, then there is no issue for applying for citizenship. Right. And in fact, because of the things that we talked about in the beginning about the financial advantages to becoming a citizen, it seems like it would make more sense to apply for citizenship and get yourself maybe into a better footing financially by being a citizen than to be wary of, being afraid to apply because of something that actually doesn't have any impact on the application. So yeah, so I think that's right.
I do want to mention those documents that we showed online that you discussed. We do want to make sure those documents are English. Very often are in English. Very often our applicants do receive, for their convenience, documents in Spanish, but what needs to be submitted to USCIS has to be in English. And it also should show, those documents should show the agency logo, meaning it should say New York City HRA or it should say New York State of Health. I just wanted
That's right. That's right. That's right. And usually when the agency sends the letters to you, it may be in your native language, and usually there's also an English copy in there as well. And so that's right. In New York City, you can get, applicants can receive the letter in Spanish. It can come in Chinese, I believe in Creole and Russian. So there's several languages, but USCIS only wants to see it in English. So that's right. We have to make sure that they're sending it in English.
All right.
Okay.
So Joy, let's go to the next basis for fee waivers.
Okay.
And that is based on income, right?
Right. So so if the person is not receiving a means tested public benefit, but they can still show that their income is below a certain level, the applicant may still be able to qualify for a fee waiver. And so that level is taken from this chart that I think we can put up on the screen also. There is the government issues a poverty guideline every year, which is used by all the different counties in issuing, determining whether people qualify for benefits and things like that. And so for the USCIS, there's actually two things that this chart is going to show. One of them is that what is 150% of the poverty line and below. If the applicant's income is below 150% of the poverty line for their household, then they would be able to apply for the fee waiver on that basis. And so the household size is calculated by who all lives in the house, also usually determined by who all is on the person's tax return. So if it's a single person, you look at that first chart with the first column or the middle column, which is 150%. So a single person making less than $19,140 would be able to qualify for a fee waiver by showing their tax, their most recent tax return or other proof of what their income is. And the more people that they have to are in their household or that they're supporting, the more income they can have. So if I was applying and I have 2 children in the household who are on my taxes, my household size would be 3. So if my income was less than $32,580, I would be able to qualify for a fee waiver. And then we're going to talk about it later, but you'll notice on the chart for the column furthest on the right says 200% of the poverty guidelines. We're going to come back to that in a little bit, but to get the income-based fee waiver, you would look at whether or not the applicant's income is below 150% of the poverty guidelines there. Thank you. So let's see. And then, yeah, go ahead.
So go ahead. There's a third basis, and
right. So the last one, I think I'm going to turn over to you, Sean. The last basis. So basically, the sort of simplest threshold is the means tested public benefit. And then if you don't receive a means tested public benefit, but your income is below 150% of the poverty line, you could qualify. And then the third one is sort of like a catch-all provision for people who need it. And so I think, Sean, can you walk us through that?
Yeah, thanks. And the third one lately has been among the most difficult to actually get.
Yeah.
Of course, because if you get the benefit, means that's the benefit, easy under
Right.
the first category, right? And income is so long as you prove the income. The third one, though, is based on a temporary economic hardship, and it's one it's for those who don't qualify for the first 2 categories. That's an important point. I think Midori mentioned that. Okay, if you qualify under the first 2, you're not applying for this one, right? So if you don't receive, again, if you don't receive one of the means tested benefits, you don't qualify for the income, but are experiencing financial hardship. This is the third and final basis. It usually means that you have a situation that's caused you some kind of short-term financial distress, such as unexpectedly high medical bills or some other emergency, or even recent unemployment. Now, if your unemployment has caused you to fall into an income level where you would qualify under or if you can demonstrate that your income has been below the poverty guidelines, that threshold, as Midori mentioned, you'd be applying under the income in the income base. But so you have to demonstrate that if you didn't qualify for the first 2, but you still want to be considered because of your now sudden financial distress, you can use unemployment as a reason to apply for it and see if you get approved. On that note, there's been a lot of discussion about unemployment, which is of course impacted so many immigrants because of COVID. Let's talk about we are going to talk about unemployment in a little bit of detail right after this. But getting back to the hardship-based fee waiver, they are going to look at closely at your assets and the money you have in the bank, because even if you are experience some kind of temporary financial hardship. If you have the money in the bank that could pay for this application, they want to see that. And so it is sometimes the most challenging to prove, but we are there to assist you. Please give us a call if you want to, if you don't qualify for the first two, and you want to try your hand at applying for the fee waiver based on your temporary
Right.
financial distress. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Midori?
No, I don't think so. I think that covers it. Basically, the USCIS will determine if they feel that you if they warrants approving based on the way I usually say it is all of the money coming in and all of the money going out. And so what is yeah, so I think it was for a single person, 19,000, a little over $19,000 was 150%. So if the person is making $20,000, they're just barely over that limit. And so, do they have out a lot of debt, like because of a major medical issue, or do they have a lot of loans from going to college, or do they have a dependent that they're taking care of that has a lot of needs or something. And so you would have to show, yeah, here's all my income, and that puts me too high for the fee waiver, but look at all this money that goes out every month. And then, you can see that there's less coming in that's going out every month. And so that's why I need the fee waiver. But it is difficult, especially compared to the other two. It is difficult to get that.
Lately I did see one application get turned down recently where an applicant did not have a short-term financial distress or sudden hardship, just that they were just living too expensively, had too much credit card debt and not enough income, and they declined because they're saying this is not temporary financial hardship. Right? Anyway, we can assist you or the applicants that we assist to navigate through this part of the fee waiver application, which can be a little bit complex. Now, so Midori, make sure we don't run out of time here. I want to talk about let's talk about unemployment, because it's been COVID has impacted the immigrant community significantly, and with so many now receiving unemployment benefits, perhaps let's talk about how the receipt of unemployment benefits, how that could impact fee waiver eligibility.
Well, there are several things. The first important part is that a lot of times people ask me whether or not receiving unemployment benefits is the same thing as receiving a public benefit. And the answer to that is no. And so unemployment benefits are not like SNAP or Medicaid, in that it's not a means tested benefit. Basically, when you're working on the books, your employer is paying into the unemployment insurance fund. Every paycheck, they're taking money out of there, so that if there's a catastrophic event, or if there's an event and the person people need unemployment, there will be money to pay them. So it's not a benefit. It's not a benefit in the definite, in terms of they're not giving you something for free. This is something that you have been paying into as somebody who was working. So first thing is, it's not a means tested public benefit. So outside of the citizenship context, for people who are worried if that was going to affect their ability to get their green card, for example, if that was going to be a public charge consideration, it is not. Unemployment benefits do not count as a means tested public benefit. Now, for citizenship and fee waivers, what that means is, just because you get unemployment does not mean that you automatically are going to qualify for a fee waiver, because it's not means tested. Unemployment benefits would count as income. So if the amount of money that you made, that you were receiving in unemployment this last year puts you below 150% of the poverty level as part of all the income that came in this year, if it puts you below that, then you would qualify for the fee waiver. But if the money you received from unemployment puts you above 150% of the poverty line, then you would not be able to use the income-based fee waiver. And like you were talking about with financial hardship, Sean, you may be able to say, look, I know that my income is put for last year puts me over 150% of the poverty line, but it's money I got from unemployment, which means I'm not working, because of the COVID and because what's happening with the economy. I've been trying to get a job. I'm trying to get back on my feet, but I can't do it. So you may be able to use that in your financial hardship analysis, but it just counts as income. So if it's too high, if you've been receiving too much to put you over 150%, then you'd have to consider the financial hardship. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's probably about all. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No, I just want to say that, before when we were showing the chart, I think if we can get the chart up again with the income basis, the 115, 200.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
We could talk about the other
Yes,
option for
I would
reducing.
love to. Yeah, I love this. One of the things that's been happening lately is for citizenship applications, for naturalization applications, there's actually a mid-range fee that people can pay. So if the income is below 150% of the poverty line, like we were talking about, you would qualify for a fee waiver straight up free. But if your income is too high to qualify for that, but it's still not very high, if it's under 200% of the poverty guidelines, there's a reduced fee that you could pay for citizenship, which is $405. That includes the biometric fee. $405. I always have to do the math on the calculator, even though it's pretty simple. And so in this case, now that the chart's up again, so when I was talking about it before, if I'm a single person, and I'm making $22,000, I would not qualify for the free application. I would not qualify to get a straight up fee waiver, which would require that I made less than 19. But because I'm making less than 200% of the poverty line, because my income is under 25,520, I would be able to fill out, it's a different form than the fee waiver form. There's a reduced fee form request where I would include my tax return and proof that I'm making less than 200% of the poverty guideline, more than 150, but less than 200. And I would include a check or a money order or that credit card fee, that credit card form for the 405. So instead of paying the $725, I would be able to pay a lower amount. And the reason why I really like the reduced fee is because most people, but certainly a great majority of immigrants want to do as much as they can. This becoming a citizen is a point of pride for them, and so to be able to pay something, is something that I think a lot of people appreciate, even if they can't, even if it's a hardship to pay the whole $725.
Majority, just for the benefit of our audience, what I want to just quickly say is, if you want to look for this chart on USCIS's website, an effective search for that would be USCIS form I-942P as in Peter. If you do that search, you will get this chart. And just want to give two other application references. Of course, the N400 application is, the citizenship application is the N400. And the USCIS application for the fee waiver is I-912. And for the reduced fee request, it's I-942. Our time's almost up, Midori. I just want to, we just want to put up the phone numbers again. Please call us to schedule an appointment to talk to one of our legal staff about your citizenship case and ask us how we can assist you in applying for citizenship. Our numbers are 646-664-9400. You can also text us at 929-334-3784. Reach us by email at citizenshipnowinfo@cuny.edu. All right, we're 35 minutes past that. Past the hour. Go ahead, Bedoya. You want to say anything
Sean,
else?
I think we were going to mention one thing. Oh, no, it was the numbers. You just did it.
Okay. All right. So we got some questions. We got a lot of questions that don't have to do with the financial aspects, but we do have about 4 questions about what we about the financial aspects of
Okay.
citizenship. Let's see if we can get to those and maybe one or two of the important other.
Oh, I did remember one thing that I wanted to mention that's not financially related. There was news that came out last week. I don't know if it's one of the points that you were going to make, Sean, but there was talk at the late last year about changes to the citizenship test, the civics portion of the test. And that was very concerning. The changes were going to make the exam a lot harder than it already is.
Yeah, I think it would have been hard for even us, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that is not going to happen. And so that plan was also scrapped. And so I imagine that people have been hearing it in the news, but that's actually very good news. So the same exam that has been in being used for the past several years is still going to be the same. So I know it's off the topic of the finances, but anyone who's applying for citizenship is going to have the same 100 questions that they have to study from
before. It's a very big relief, very important news. So thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to a couple of the questions. Midori, you ready for this?
Sure. Let's go.
All right. I completed my application electronically on the USCIS website, but can't figure out how to apply for the fee waiver online.
Oh, yes. So that is one of the things that hopefully USCIS will be able to work on. But right now, there's no mechanism to file an application with a fee waiver request or a reduced fee request online. And so anybody who needs to file, anyone who wants to request a fee waiver will need to print out the paper version and sign it, attach the fee waiver information and form and put it in the mail like the old-fashioned way.
All right. Maybe that functionality will be in the future, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
So next question, can undergraduate students get a fee waiver for citizenship?
So I get that version of the question. The other version I get is the applicant is a senior, is at 80 or 90 years old, and can they qualify on that basis? And the answer is the same on both ends of the age spectrum, and that is if the person qualifies based on their income, they would qualify for the fee waiver. And so if the college student is independent and paying for school and only being able to work part-time and not being supported by anybody else, their income may be low enough to for them to be eligible for a fee waiver. But just on the basis of being a full-time student would not qualify them for a fee waiver.
All right. Next question is, I am retired and receiving monthly Social Security. Can I use this to apply for a fee waiver?
Right. So we kind of covered that in our discussion, but basically, if the Social Security, the amount that you're receiving in Social Security in 1 year, that total puts you below 150% of the poverty line, then you would be able to apply for a fee waiver on that basis. But if it's if it's part of other income, so if you're receiving Social Security benefits, you're also receiving money from a pension or those kind of things. If the total of your income is above 150% of the poverty line, then you would not qualify on that basis. If you felt that there was still if you felt that there was a financial hardship because it's a fixed income or because of other, you had other debts and things like that, you might qualify. But similar to being a college student, just the fact of receiving Social Security is not going to qualify you for a fee waiver because it's not a means tested public benefit. Again, Social Security is something that you, throughout your working life, your employer is taking money out and sending it into the Social Security fund. So you're just basically getting back what you've been paying into the whole time. So it's not a public benefit. So it won't qualify you under that. So it would only be based on, are you receiving so much or so little that it would qualify under one of the bases for the fee waiver.
All right. We have time for one more question.
Alrighty.
And that is, I am applying for a fee. Oh, this is a good one. I'm sorry. I am applying for a fee waiver. Should I include the application fee with it just in case
Right.
They don't approve the fee waiver.
So the answer to that is no. Most times lawyers don't want to give us definitive answer, but in this case, the answer is no.
Right.
If you submit the payment, they will happily accept your money and push the fee waiver to the side. If you are, and their reasoning, I can sort of understand, is that if you could write the check, or if you can send me the money, then you have the money to
Right.
send.
Yeah.
So you definitely would not, although there is a good important thing to say about that, which is when the app, so if I'm applying for citizenship, I have the N-400 form is all completed and ready to go. And I have the fee waiver on top of that with my proof of what I think should qualify me for a fee waiver. I send that to immigration. If immigration determines, if USCIS determines that I don't qualify for the fee waiver, they'll send the entire package back to me. And that's how I know that I did not get the fee waiver. And so at that point, I would attach, if I decide, if I said, all right, fine, then I would attach a check or money order. But if you send both the fee waiver and the check or money order, they'll just take your money.
No, that's absolutely right. And it's interesting, this question. I very recently read the USCIS field manual for employees. It says if you get an N400, if you get an application with the fee waiver and the application fee, don't even look at the application for the fee waiver.
That's
it,
right.
Cash the check. Right?
Yes, that's right.
But you raise a good point. If you can pay for it, why are you asking for
the
fee? The fee waiver. All right. We did get a bunch of other questions, most not regarding the financial aspect. There is one that keeps coming up, and I just want to throw it out there for you, Midori. My green card expired. Can I apply for citizenship?
So the answer is yes, you can apply for your citizenship, but there is a rule that requires that all permanent residents have proof of their status. And so it's advisable that you would also file to renew the green card. If there are more than 6 months left of the validity of your green card, they usually will not make you require that you file to renew your green card. So it's important to try to keep track of that. But if there's less than 6 months left on it, or it's already expired, it's a better idea to file both forms. They go to different addresses, but to file both forms. And if you qualify for a fee waiver for the citizenship, you will also qualify for a fee waiver to renew that green card. So there won't be a fee.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Let's now close out by saying it will be a Spanish version of this topic in a Facebook Live session on March 24th. Two of our wonderful colleagues are going to do this in Spanish. So please take a look out, keep an eye out for that. Midori, this has been so much fun.
It was fun. We can do it again sometime, Sean. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Right.
Thanks, Midori. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. And again, if you have any questions, please contact us. Our numbers again, 646-664-9400, by text at 929-334-3784, and by email at citizenshipnowinfo@cuny.edu. Be well, be safe, have a good night.